All right, so a bit of casting news for a couple of projects. First, we have Masters of the Universe, which I'm still not completely sure if this is going to be a typical movie, as in it's out in theaters, or if it's going to appear on Amazon Prime, possibly eventually, because this is an MGM production. But we do have more casting news, which isn't much because I think so far we just have He-Man cast. We now have Teela, and she is being played by Camila Mendez, who is best known for Riverdale. So let me just turn you around so you can see what she looks like as compared to what Teela looks like. So yeah, I can see it. I mean, obviously the hair color is different, but that's no big deal. I can see her as Teela. So, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that she'll make a good Teela? Because, just because she looks similar to Teela doesn't mean that she can have the warrior vibe, but Riverdale was weird, so maybe she would make a good Teela. So that is all I have for that. Let me just remind you that He-Man is going to be played by Nicholas Galitzine. I hope I remembered how to pronounce that from when I did the video about him being cast. So that is all I have for Masters of the Universe. And now we have some news from Percy Jackson and the Olympians. They've cast Timothy Simmons. And I'm going to ask for you to guess it, because I did guess this right. Come on, oh, for frick's sake, come on. So this is him, and I'll give you a moment to guess who you think he's going to play, because I figured it out immediately. So I'm just going to let you look for a few seconds. Okay. So he is playing Tantalus. So, for those who are unfamiliar with the character is described as sardonic, manipulative, openly hostile, and rarely in a good mood. Which, he's been cursed to... He's the one who's been cursed to push a stone up a ramp in hell. And right before he reaches the top, it rolls all the way down and he has to start over. So, yeah. For those of you who are not familiar with Tantalus. So, now, like I said, I did read the plot of Sea of Monsters, but it sounds like they're deviating a little bit. And for people who are upset, the writer of the books is involved in the series, so if you're upset that it's not a one-for-one copy of the books, take it up with the writer. Because a lot of the times when I hear people whine, it's because they act like, well, the writer would never allow this. Yeah. So he is going to be... Oh yeah, and of course, he's cursed with eternal hunger and thirst, but can never eat or drink. I'm pretty sure he's also the one who's pushing the rock up, so... I think... Are we confusing two different people? Because I'm pretty sure that's Tantalus. Okay, so yeah, Tantalus is the one um, who is stuck with a above a pool of water, and every time he tries to dip down to drink, he can't. And I believe that there's a tree above him, and every time he reaches up, the tree moves up, so he can't reach it. Let me see. Who is the one who rolls the rock? Okay, that's Sisyphus. I thought that he was initially in Sea of Monsters. So maybe I'm misremembering. But anyway, Tantalus has been released from imprisonment in the underworld to become the interim activities director at Camp Half-Blood, having replaced Chiron, who is under suspicion of having ties to Kronos. Because, of course the gods are going to be suspicious of anything that moves. That checks out if you know anything about Greek mythology. So, of course, they're going to be suspicious of anyone and everyone. I mean, they had absolutely no reason to suspect Percy except for, how strong he was. I mean, the kid didn't even know he was a demigod when they already were suspicious of him. And he didn't know what the hell was going on. So, yeah, it checks out that they would be suspicious of Chiron because reasons. So let's see if there's anything else. Looks like that is it. Back to Tony Simmons. He is best known as Jonah Ryan in the award-winning HBO comedy Veep. So, yeah. But I am looking forward to how they deal with Tantalus. Now, my question. Now, I realize that the gods are, well, messed up in the head. They're not very bright. But their brains are usually between their legs, but that's a different thing. Either between their legs or stuck in their egos, or both. But why, in your infinite wisdom, would you think that it was a good idea to release Tantalus? I mean, this is the guy who almost tricked you into eating his son, and we're not going to get into why he did that, because as if that isn't messed up either. And they decided to punish him by never being able to eat or drink, which, fair, but why release that person of all people? Why release him? Especially since, in theory, he's going to be around long enough to do something like, I don't know, eat and drink. So, yeah. It's great that you're suspicious of Chiron, but why of all people him? I wonder if they're going to give a reason or if it's going to be the usual hand waving that mythology usually is. Let's see if there's anything else. Let's see. For those who missed my synopsis of Percy Jackson, let's just go over it again. Percy Jackson returns to Camp Half-Blood 1 year later to find his world turned upside down. His friendship with Annabeth is changing. He learns he has a Cyclops for a brother. Grover has gone missing, and camp is under siege from the forces of Kronos. Percy's journey to set things right will take him off the map and into the deadly sea of monsters, where a secret fate awaits the son of Poseidon. Now, my question is, well, in theory, the sea should be a good place for Percy because we've already seen how well he commands it for someone who had no idea what the hell he was doing. So, can you imagine once he knows what's going on and how to properly do things, how powerful he's going to be? So, that's going to be interesting. But now, obviously, that's where the paranoia comes in, is that Kronos is attacking Camp Half-Blood. But of all people, why Chiron? I mean, he's the last person I would have thought. I would have questioned Dionysus long before I questioned Chiron. Because Chiron is very noble. He isn't going to turn on the gods. That's just not in his makeup. So, yeah, but Dionysus, he's the god, as this one podcaster put it, he's the god of having a good time. So I would think that he would be a bit more fickle about his allegiances than, say, Chiron. Now, in no ways would I think that Dionysus would actually turn on the gods, but if I had to choose between those two, because those are the only two head honchos that we met, if I had to pick between the two, it would be Dionysus. So why is it centered on Chiron? Unless either Kronos or, what's that kid's name? One of those two somehow frames Chiron. Which is possible since the gods seemed unaware of Kronos until Percy brought it to their attention. Even though they claimed that they knew what was happening, but yeah. Very curious why, of all people, Chiron. Let's see if there's anything else. I believe, well, let me remind you of who else has been cast for this season, since obviously the main cast is the same. So, let's see, we have the Grey Sisters, played by Sandra Bernard, Kristen Schaal, and Margaret Cho. So that should be objectively hilarious, because it's Sandra Bernard and Margaret Cho. Not familiar as much with Kristen Schaal. I believe I've heard the name, but I'm not familiar with her work, so not going to say anything. But if they're casting her along with those two, she must be hilarious. Even though I'm not a big fan of Margaret Cho, I don't dislike her. But anyway, so Daniel Deemer will play Tyson. And if you guys watched my video from, I think it was D23, I played a clip from Instagram with him talking. And oh boy, does he have a nice voice. So, yeah. It's going to be hard to concentrate on the words coming out of his mouth, because I'm going to be just listening to his voice. Ugh. That's going to suck. That ranks up there for me with listening to people with a brogue. And for those who don't know, that's Irish or Scottish accents. Because you have to, first you have to concentrate, at least I do, to understand what they're saying, because different accent. But I love listening to the accent so much that I kind of forget to try to listen to the words. So yeah, that's a personal issue. Let's see. And of course, like I said, he's playing Tyson. So yeah, I believe that is all I have for Percy Jackson. So with that, I will see you guys in the next video.